Okay, so today SubD, all right, which we've kind of quickly touched on before, but not a hell of a lot. So subdivision modeling is literally subdividing. So if I go to your SubD tools at the top here,
Yes.
and I put a plane out,
Yes.
and draw a plane any size I like, all right. Let's do this again. Enter, all right. Enter. So if I go in the shaded viewport, you'll see that I have this kind of round looking surface.
Yes.
And if I go to its points mode, you'll see that I can grab
Yeah.
a point over there and I can move it around.
Yes.
There's a point over here. That's
Yeah.
because this is actually a square. So when
Yeah.
you take your SubD out of its soft mode, unsubdivided, to its square mode, there's actually just a plane down here. And
Yeah.
you can play with that plane as much as you want.
Yeah.
You can then also subdivide it. So with Rhino, with the surface, you can rebuild the surface. So let's look at the two together. I'm going to grab that, move it there. I'm
Yeah.
going to create a regular plane, which is just a Rhino NURBS plane.
Yeah.
They look kind of the same, right?
Yes.
Except they're not. So this one, if I turn on its edit points with F10,
Yes.
I got 4 edit points and I can kind of
Yeah.
move them around. That's nice. Okay. I take this one, I press F10 to turn on its edit points. So far they're looking pretty much the same, like they do the same thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. This one I can soften. This one I cannot. Doesn't do anything. All right. Notice it just stays exactly like that.
Okay.
So now let's subdivide them. So if I take this and I subdivide, is it going to allow me to subdivide? No, it's not even going to allow me to subdivide. So this one, because it's a different technology, I have to rebuild.
Yes.
Okay. If we have a look at the surface, you can see that there was U2, U2 at by degree 1. All right, so I'm going to make them degree 3, degree 3. I'm going to put, I'm going to double the number of points in it, 4 and 4.
Yes.
Okay. And so now when I turn on the edit points for it, I didn't do it right, did I? 2 surfaces in there. Rebuild. Okay, hang on. Let's do that again. Rebuild and make sure we're not copying it. Delete input. Alright. So 4, 4 and 3. Okay, there we go. So this one, when I turn on the edit points now, you can
Yes.
see that I've got 4 lots of edit points.
Yes.
And I can play with the edit point, but it's not giving me quite what I'm expecting. All right. So this is a shortfall in Rhino in the way that not a shortfall, it's just a different way of doing stuff.
Yes.
With the SubD, I can just go subdivide,
Subdivide. Yeah.
and now you start to see where the word SubD comes from.
Yes.
So I've given it more points, and I can subdivide again, and I've given it more points. Now if I play with those edit points now, I've got a very organic way of playing with this item, because remember, I can see exactly what I'm doing until I go soft mode.
Okay.
Right. So the other advantage to this is over here I have the surface, and I have the surface as points, and I have the surface as edges. So I can play a little bit with those things, but I can't play with the edge through here.
Yes.
I can't select that edge. You with me?
Yes.
I can go duplicate edge, or I can do a sweep using an edge, or I can control shift. So let's escape the all points. I can control shift and I can grab that edge.
Yes.
And I can play with it a little bit while this is a surface, right?
Yes.
The minute this is a poly surface, I can no longer do that. So poly surface is more than one surface joined to each other.
Yes.
So if I take this surface and I control C and control V and I put another one on top of it,
Yes.
like that, let's loft between them.
Yes.
U to U, U to U, U to U, and U to U. Okay, so if I join these guys now,
Yes.
they become a poly surface.
Yes.
And that means I can't turn on the edit points for them anymore. It means I can no longer edit that surface. All right?
Yes.
With this guy over here, I can extrude it. So if I turn on that, see I grab the little ball, I can extrude it. And I can say that I want just that face, and I want to extrude that face.
Yes.
Or I want just that edge, and I want to move the whole edge around. Or I want to move all these edges around, you and you and you. I want to bring them up a little bit. So it means when you're doing organic stuff, you have a lot more control over the surfaces you're working with.
Yes.
I can go right down to vertex mode, which means I can grab the join between all those edges, and I can pull this down.
Yes.
And so a while ago we said, are we going to build a mouse one day? So this is how I would go about modeling a mouse.
Oh.
Draw your basic shape, pull the front of
Yeah.
your mouse out, grab where you need to, and you
Yes.
can design any shape you want. All right, so
Yes.
we're going to play today with something a bit more jewelry specific. I'm
Okay.
going to try, I haven't done this in a while.
Understand.
Okay, so subdivision, let's have a try. Let's switch off my filter. Okay, so your first thing is, I think you're going to find subdivision to be very, very frustrating if you don't have a subdivision toolbar. I found it when I was doing the last video extremely frustrating to figure out how McNeil, like append face, I don't even know what that icon means. You know what I mean? So I made a new toolbar. Oh, I do recommend you make a new toolbar. Remember we did this in the previous.
Yeah.
I'm going to call this my SubD.
Yeah.
Save it.
Yeah.
Toolbar group. Bring this over to video. So these will be the tools you use most frequently.
Yes.
Okay. And it is turned on. So where was it turned on? Where did it go? Let's find it. Brought a toolbar out somewhere. Where did it put it? Behind? Ah, there it is there. There it is there. Well, so I'm going to open that guy up, and then from the SubD toolbar, the thing that I use the most is the selectors and the filter. Right?
Yes.
Then I flip in between the solid and the not solid mode. So from
Yeah.
here, if we hold down Shift, if we
Yeah.
hold down Control, you can
Yeah.
copy this over to there.
Okay.
Then copy this one over to
Hold
there.
it. Control Shift.
Control, just Control.
Oh, just Control. Okay.
Okay, so those are my selection mode. Okay, this one over here, I'm going to move it into the nether and get rid of it. Okay, so when we work with SubD, we're most frequently going to be working with the edges, the faces, the verts,
Yes.
and we're going to turn. This means to turn off the. I don't want to move this. Oopsie, I nearly moved it. Be careful with moving; you'll destroy menu. I didn't want this one, so I'll move it out into the nether. Okay, so this is to your super selection. I want to select edges, I want to select faces, I want to select verts, I want to go back to normal rhino selection, kind of in that order. Okay.
Okay.
Because while this mode is selected, you see that it changes a couple of things down here. And then while this mode is selected, you see it changes a couple of things down here about how you're going to select. All right. We've set it to filter none. You go back to being able to select normal rhino stuff. So there's your selection tools, right? So the next one we want to play with is the creation tools. So the one that I use the most is toggling between soft mode and hard mode. So again, to explain what that is. So currently that's in soft mode, and I can toggle to hard mode, so I can see my.
Oh, okay.
So I can see my object, what it looks like. This makes it easier to model. This shows you what the actual item looks like. So that one I use a lot. So I'm going to Control, copy this one down here like that.
Yes.
Then I use fill SubD holes a lot. I use append face a lot. So create a face, so append this one over here. I use a lot, or I used it in the last video a lot at least anyway. Okay, this is how we built the tree of life.
Yes.
I use bridge a lot, and I use crease, uncrease, and insert. So insert ring. And where you go? Just slide ring, stitch mesh. Got stitch there. We go that one. Okay, so those are my specific tools that I find when I'm working with it, I use them a lot. All right? So we want these to pop up every time I hit my middle mouse button. So to do that, we go to Options. We're going to go to Mouse. Mouse. Pop up the toolbar. I want my SubD toolbar to pop up.
Yes.
I'm going to go OK. So that means I can now close this. Just dock it somewhere, it doesn't matter. Every time I middle click my mouse, the tools I'm going to use the most for SubD are popping up at my mouse point. Okay? So I want to work with the edges on this one, play around. So there, I want to work in edge mode. I
Yeah.
can grab that edge, I can play with it now, and I can extrude it out a little bit, create another edge. All right.
Yeah.
So now that you've got the menu going, it becomes a little bit easier. So the tree of life thing, I'll show you. I'm not going to go through the whole tutorial again.
Yeah.
But if you quickly Google, I'm doing this off screen. Save an image. Here's another one. All right, so let's grab that one. Let's grab that one, this one. All right, so I'm just opening off screen for you. If you're watching the video, I'm attempting to open something off screen, but Google's not playing with me. Really? Google?
Oh, yeah. It is opening. Probably too slow.
No, I'm going to grab another one then. I can't wait for it too slow.
Huh?
Oh my God. All right, you know what?
Oh.
All right, so I'm going to grab that image if I can. Okay, this is a very ugly tree of life. I'm not doing this on video because I don't want the video to have proprietary customer names in it. So I'm going to go backwards a little bit. Okay, Jesus. Tree of life pendant. Our internet must be super fast as usual. Really?
It works.
Okay, so that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I save as JPEG desktop? Okay. So we're going to bring that picture in.
Yeah. Picture.
I'm just going to, turn off my selection filter, thank you. So you're going to find that very frustrating when you first work with SubD, that if you have a filter for face, and this thing doesn't have a face, you can happen to grab it there, but let's say I had a filter for grabbing vertices,
Yeah.
and try to select this, you cannot, because
Okay.
you've said that in Rhino, I only want to select vertices.
Yes.
So when you're selecting this, and why the fuck can't I move it? It's because you've got to disable the filter, because Rhino's not smart enough to tell the difference between a face and a
Okay.
SubD one, right? So that one is really handy, so keep it handy. Damn,
Yeah.
I can't select stuff. Now you can select stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to lock that there, move it down just a little bit, and then show you the two different ways that I anticipate. I'm only doing this just because you were unwell, so
Oh.
right. So you could, if you looked at this geometry, you could take a curve through here and a profile, and you could try to sweep it, and then another one over there and sweep it, and another sweep over there, another sweep. It would be a major pain in the ass to do it that way,
Okay.
right? So there's multiple ways to do modeling. You can do the way we did before. So where can I dock this so it's out of my way? Okay. So I'm going to open up. You can, my favorite way, and there's no right way or wrong way, my favorite way
Yeah.
is to draw out the faces themselves, right? So I would come in
Okay.
and I would start drawing out the first rectangle and then the next rectangle, but you can see that looks awkward to try and draw like that. That's because we need
Okay.
to be in square mode, right?
Okay.
So now I can draw out face by face by face. If you want to get rid of that fact that it's asking for a fifth face, you can just on the command line say that I don't want to work with n-gons, I want to work with a quad meaning 4. So most of the time in Rhino you're going to work with 4. Alright, so like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do anything in Rhino. You can produce this component like this, and then you can do an extrusion, which is what I did in the last video, to create your surface, and switch to soft mode
Yes.
to see what it looks like soft. Right, and then because you in SubD, you can say I want to play with the verts and I want to move this one in a little bit like that, and you can get the shape exactly the way you want.
Yes.
Okay, by just pulling it around like it's putty.
Okay.
Very, very simple to do, a very easy way to model, but it only really works if your components are organic.
Okay.
So kind of organic like this, like a tree.
Yes.
Doesn't really matter that that wasn't precise when it's a tree, you know what I mean? Nobody cares.
Yes.
When it's a ring and it has to be very precise for a stone size,
Yes.
slightly different story. All right. So if
Got
you look
it.
at these, you can keep pushing, pulling, bring it around, move it in there. So this is
Yes.
why Manny likes this, because this is how Manny, his headspace works. He doesn't like it to be too precise. He wants to make a thing that looks like this.
Okay.
Now you work out how difficult that would have been to try to sweep this shape. It would have been nearly impossible.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so that's my way of doing it.
Yes.
And again, I say there's no right or wrong way. Right. The other way to do it is you can just bring out a primitive. So here's a sphere. Here is a, what have we got here? Plane, truncated. I'm going to bring out a sphere because I like spheres, I guess. So I'm going to bring out a sphere. I'm going to draw it here. Try to rotate it so the two faces are going up the branch like that, something like that, and put it down. Right. So this is now a 3D sphere, the same as a sphere in Rhino, but this is a SubD sphere.
Okay.
All right. So the last time I worked with only half the surface, which means I had to mirror it. Now I'm going to work with the whole sphere, like that. I'm going to make it about the thickness of the tree that we need. And now I'm going to start extruding faces. Now if I want to extrude something, so let's go to face mode. You can either select up there or by my new little menu, I want to work in face mode. I can select this face. I'll shade it. I can select that face,
Yes.
but I'm not selecting the face that's underneath it.
Okay.
Okay? You see I'm not selecting the face underneath it, I'm only selecting that first face.
Okay.
You've got to always be mindful of that. You can see that you've got this face selected, but you can't see that you don't have the other one selected.
Okay.
I think there is a setting that will allow you to select through both. I'm not going to go through that right now. So just remember that in this view, you need to select there, like that. So right click backwards. And then for sure you are selecting both those faces. See?
Okay.
Right. So anyhow, we've got those faces selected. Remember we did a tutorial on the gumball. We said that the gumball, let's turn it back on, the gumball is aligned to the C plane at the moment. So
Yes.
X is in that direction, so the gumball's X is in that direction. Y is in this direction, so the gumball's Y is in this direction. Right?
Yeah.
That doesn't help me. I want to move it directly away from itself. So in other words,
Okay.
normal to itself.
Yeah.
So what happens is this direction, remember we've got a perpendicular snap down the bottom here. Perpendicular means 90 degrees to the surface.
Yeah.
So if you looked at this whole thing here, these two faces,
Yes.
perpendicular is this direction. So directly away from itself. So if you're on the Earth and you're on Australia, our up is here. But in Canada, your up is there.
Yeah.
And in the US, maybe your up is there.
Okay.
So on the gumball, when you right click it, you can align to object.
Yes.
Alright, so let's have a look at the difference. I'm going to leave it on align to C plane. I'm going to select a face.
Yes.
And you can see that when I can extrude, I can only extrude in this direction.
Yes.
Which is not what I want. I want to go in that direction.
Okay, get
Alright,
it.
so I'm going to take the gumball and I'm going to say align to object
Yeah.
instead. And now when I select these faces,
Oh.
you see that it's automatically worked out which way these faces are pointing.
Yeah.
Which means I can now go and I can extrude. And
Yes.
I can extrude again, and I can extrude again, then I can turn, I can move, and I can extrude again, and I can extrude again.
Oh.
Alright, I think I want to extrude to there, and I'm going to stop. Now I'm going to grab these two faces, and I extrude the, didn't grab the extruder. Grab the little ball as the extruder, extrude, rotate, move, and I can grow like the plant is growing.
Oh, okay.
Alright, and I can just keep going, move this way, turn it around a little bit, oopsie, turn it around a little bit.
Okay.
So this is not an invalid way of doing things, it's a perfectly valid way of doing things, and a lot of subdivision modelers work like this. Alright?
Okay, got it. That's interesting. I like it.
So then you can come back afterwards, after you've done this part, you come back, grab these two faces and go, alright, well let's start working on this
Why
branch.
you say two faces?
The one underneath, you need to pay attention, there's a face under.
Yeah.
Two faces.
What happened if
Here's a face here, Here's a face, yeah.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
Okay, if you didn't grab it, you're gonna break your model. So we think we've got two faces selected. Extrude it out. We only extruded one.
Okay, I get it.
Right, so we meant to do this.
Oh, okay. Alright, I get
but
it.
Because we only selected the one face.
Okay, yeah.
That might have been your intention. You might have decided you want to do that. You know?
Okay, yeah, I get it, but not for this.
No
yeah.
problem. So you already got a solid now.
Okay.
If you model like this, I'd probably set yourself to ghosted mode in Rhino, and before you go too far along, clear up your faces. All right, so you can go inside there. Let's see. In face selection mode, I want to grab edges. So face is grabbing faces. Now I want to grab edges.
Yes.
Okay, I want to grab all the edges through here and move them down there. All these edges through here, all these edges through here. And then so you can start getting yourself back to the shape where you're meant to be.
Yes.
Don't think of SubD. Is that me that's wrong?
No, it's outside.
Sure. All right, so don't think of SubD as you've got to get it right the first time. In fact, it's better to think of SubD, you're never going to get it right the first time, and it's going to rely on the fact that you have to come back and do this.
Okay,
Right.
I get it.
It also means that you're not stuck like with a sweep. If you broke a sweep, you've got to go back and do it again.
Yes.
You with me? With
Yes.
SubD, you don't have that issue.
Yeah, no.
Right. So I can see that I've got too many curves here. You can see it's getting a bit wonky. Same as when you make a curve with too many points, and the
Yes.
curve is difficult to work with.
Yes.
So I don't want this edge here. So if you select once, all right, let's go in there. So this edge here, to me, I don't need because my next extrusion is going to come along here. So I've already got faces I can do. I don't want this curve
Yeah, no.
or this edge, right? So you can select once to select an edge, but if you double click on the edge,
Yeah.
it'll select what's called an edge ring, the ring going right around the object.
Okay.
All right.
So sorry,
that's-
double click?
So you double click the edge and it will select the edge. So
Got it.
once is just to select this,
Yeah.
or you can go with shift and you can select another one and another
Yeah.
one.
Oh, okay.
Right. But if you double click any edge, Rhino
Click
will
first.
see if it's got
Okay.
we'll have a look to see if it's got a ring, and if it does, it'll select it.
Okay.
And I just press the delete key.
I'll get it.
So I got rid of that ring. That's another thing you can't do with surfaces, right?
Okay.
You can't delete just one edge.
Get
So
it.
now this is going to make it easier for me to get this thing kind of where I need it for the next component. So this is okay. I'm going to go to edges, to verts. I'll grab those verts and straighten them out like that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I think we're pretty much where we need to be. So this is fun because you can be as creative as you want. There's no limitations on how you're going to move this thing back and forward, get your shape. And if you decide you don't like the shape of the tree that you're copying, you can just make it any shape you want. All right.
That's good.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so it's quite powerful. It also can be frustrating if you don't know the tools. All right.
Yes.
So I encourage you to watch the video I did
For the tree.
on the full tree growth.
Yeah.
The second thing is to remember you need to use planning, because you want to extrude out to here and you want to extrude out to here.
Yes.
It means you need to have faces. All right.
Yes.
If you didn't have faces, you've got a problem. So if I grab this edge now, grab that edge, select the whole ring, come on, and delete it. All right. Perfectly valid. All right.
Yes.
Except that looks a little bit shitty now. But how am I going to extrude in this direction and this direction now? Because I've only got the one face.
Okay, I'll get it.
All right. So if I extrude now, I can't. Which way am I going? I mean, you could do this, and you could narrow it
That's
down,
small.
and you could move it there. Then you could use this
Yeah.
face to extrude in that direction. all right?
Yes.
But if you look at it before, most of your things are going to split into two.
Yeah, I understand.
So then start out with something that has two. So my quad ball had two.
Yes.
If you need to insert another one because this one was gone, all right? So I'm going to grab, oopsie, grab edges. Okay, I'm going to delete that on purpose. So you
Yeah.
got up to here and you go, oh, damn it, I needed more edges. All right?
Yes.
You can grab this guy or this guy, it doesn't really matter. You can grab you. And so now my next little favorite tool is insert edge. I want to
Okay.
insert one here.
Okay.
So I've kind of split that face in half, which means I now have two faces to work with to continue with my extrude.
Yeah, understand.
Alright?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to face mode. I'm going to grab those two faces there. Why are there two faces?
Because one face is on the other side.
Correct.
Yeah. How did you click two faces?
I'm right clicking and selecting. Remember, right click and select will select everything it touches.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Left
yeah.
click and select will only select what you can see.
Yeah, okay. Get it.
So this one we can now extrude in that direction. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and rotate it like that. And do one more extrusion and we're at the leaf. And I'm right clicking and selecting here to grab both those faces. And we're going to extrude out a little bit and we're going to extrude out a little bit. And we're going to turn there. And we're going to turn like that. Okay, so that becomes where that leaf's going to go. This becomes where this leaf, but this design looks like it needs to go a little bit further through here and turn and then go in that direction and one more time in that direction.
Yeah, get it.
Alright, so then the same thing over here. You
Yeah.
need to use this surface. I'm going to grab all of these guys, bring them back a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to edge mode. And grab all of these guys and move them over there. So I'm making the faces that are going to make this one.
Okay.
And we also need the faces that are going to make this one.
Yes.
So here I'm going to have to insert an edge loop because I don't have enough edge loops, or I'm going to have to grab that edge, move it back down here, grab that edge, move it back down here. It's awkward. I can make it. Grab those faces, come out there, grab those faces, come out there.
Get it.
Alright, so face mode. And grab those two faces and we're going to extrude, make it smaller, rotate it. Okay, so this is very different to the way that when you watch the first video. That's not
Yeah.
to say the first video is the right way. There is no right way in Rhino. There's just your way.
Okay.
Alright, so you can see I need to come out here. So I'm just going to stop this. I'm not going to pull it all the way out here because it will make it weird over there.
Okay.
So I'm going to come back one. That's going to
Yeah.
leave me faces to extrude there, and I'm going to extrude a second time here. Why are you not extruding? There we go. That's better. That means I grab those two faces and extrude them out for this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing here. We can grab those two faces, extrude, turn them a little bit, bring them out there, and extrude them again.
Yeah.
And scale them a little bit smaller. Then we grab these two faces. So this is fun because it's literally like playing with putty.
Yeah, it does.
Right? So you can just be creative, come out, do what you need to do.
I think it's more like more chance to make a mistake. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it
Yeah,
making a mistake.
because you can come back and correct
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Exactly right. All right. So this is a lot of organic modelers.
Yes.
That's why they prefer this. So before you go too far,
Yeah.
always like stop at the end of an extrude and then come back and start working on your.
Yeah.
So I'll
Get
go
it.
to vertex mode for this. Grab all those vertexes, bring them. Looks like they're meant to be there. And looks like it's meant to be there. These look like they go in a little bit. Yeah. These corners are always difficult.
It is.
Pull them back to there. Yeah. Edges. Edges. Like that. Okay, so I encourage you to play with this because it makes it, for this kind of modeling, there is no better way to do it. I'm not going to finish this whole tree today, so we're going to move on to the next thing, maybe a more useful jewelry one, because you've got another advantage to this, all right?
Okay, I get it.
I'm going to delete all that. All right, so let's talk about making a collet. All right,
Okay.
file and new. I'm going to get out of any selection mode. So if you look at a 6-claw collet,
Yes.
your way to make it until now has been, if we look at, say, images, you've been using booleans and or you're using wires for like this kind of collet,
Yeah.
and or you're using there's different kinds of ways that you can get to it. So I'm going to try to show you the SubD way
Yes.
to produce a reusable collet.
Yeah.
So just inside here, in your SubD tools, you've got the same primitives as you have in everywhere else. The one we're going to work with today is the torus. So if you play with the Rhino torus, the torus is a round wire, a link. Call it a jump ring if you want.
Oh, okay.
Alright. It's based on mathematics, toroidal mathematics. So torus, that's where it gets its name from.
Torus.
Okay.
Okay. Get it.
Anyway, so we call it a jump ring. That's how you make a jump ring.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a torus. In Rhino, pretty much you now got what you got. You can turn on some edit points. It is a primitive, and you can play with the edit points a little bit, I guess, if you needed to, and you can get this kind of a, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. All right, but it's a degree 2, so you'd have to rebuild it to a degree 3. Rebuild it to degree 3, 4, 4 is fine. Let's go back to 8 and 8. Okay, and okay. And so now when you turn on its edit points, you've got a little bit more control on it.
Yeah.
Right? You can create a bit of an organic movement with it, with the
Okay.
surface. What if I want to extrude here? I can't. I only select the whole Rhino thing. So this is a difference in the technology, because this is not a subdivision surface. I can't grab its subdivisions. I can't grab the edges. I can only grab the whole thing, and
Okay.
maybe a little bit of work with its vertices. Even they are awkward to work with. All right?
Okay.
So we're going to make a SubD torus, which is that guy there. Okay, so let's look at the command line. So collets have got normally 6 claws or maybe 8 claws, all right? So if you look at the torus, it's asking, we want to put down a center. Well, that's easy, it's 0. Okay?
Yes.
Then we want a diameter. Yep.
Yeah.
I want a diameter of, I don't know, that big. And then let's click out and do that. And I happen to get 6 faces here because I had done this exercise before for someone else.
Yeah.
So let me delete that and restart the command. So SubD torus from, can you see it over here? I said vertical faces. So in other words, the faces going around it, 4 of them. And the around faces on the torus, I said 6. So if
Yes.
you're going to make a collet with 12 or 8, change that to 8.
Okay.
And then you get a torus with 8 faces.
Got it.
Alright, so we want 6 in this instance, so I'm going to
Yeah.
go torus command. We're going to imagine that we're making the bottom of the collet for now. I'm going to
Yeah.
go straight up like that. And maybe we're just going to size it later anyway, so we're going to do that. Alright, so now the fun starts. Because you can grab a face, because this is a SubD, you can go grab a face. I want that face, I want to play with it and extrude it.
Yes.
But the beauty of a collet is all 6 prongs are the same. So imagine if you had a history
Yes.
that could go around this thing.
Yes.
How cool would that be, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's great because we have one. So you can look at radial symmetry. Let's go over here.
Okay.
You
Radius.
see that left click is radiate, right click is find. So I want to find the pattern in this. Okay?
Got it.
So I'm going to right click that, find the pattern,
Yes.
select the first face, you, and then select the second face, you, and said, okay, I found a pattern. I found a pattern of 8 items through here. All right? So that means anything I do on the first face now will happen on all the other faces. So you see that one face is a lighter color?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to go to face mode, and grab that face, and I'm going to extrude it.
Oh.
And I'm going to extrude it. And I'm going to extrude it. And I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to go to edges mode. I grab those edges. I'm going to bring them in a little bit. And so now, with that same silly putty, I can start making a collet.
Okay.
Alright, bring that in like that. Bring it up. Let's grab the face. Do I need it more than that? Yeah, I probably do. So I'm going to go to face mode now. Remember to try to work, if you can, try to work on the lighter colored one.
Yes.
Yeah, otherwise sometimes you can break history. So that's looking pretty much like we need it to look. And of course, remember, I'm not a great designer, so I'm going to move that one, I'm going to roll it up like that. And then this top one, I think, has to come in, so I'm going to go to face mode. So I'm going to move the face in like that. And then we can start shaping out how we need to go. So I want to grab the bottom rings. I want to grab these edges. I want to grab that edge ring. Remember to grab the whole ring. What do I have to do?
Huh?
If I want to grab this whole
double
edge,
click.
double click. Okay, so I've got
Yeah.
the edge ring. That means I can now play with the shape of the bottom, like putty. Literally like playing with putty. All right.
Okay.
So the other thing we know with the collets, the inside edge is always sharp, and the outside is probably roundish.
Okay.
So now let's talk about subdivision, the next part of subdivision surfaces. You will also see this in the second video on the tree of life. If I want to make an edge sharp, I have two options for it. I can crease the edge, and if I want to undo that, I can uncrease the edge. So creasing the edge means that it's going to try to make it as close as it can to 90 degrees, right? So if I grab this edge and this edge, and then the opposite edge like that and like that, and I click on crease edge, it's made it very hard, sharp, and it looks a bit unnatural down here.
Okay.
It's not end of the world. You can control Z and okay. So the other way to do that is you can insert another edge close to that. So remember in your top view, if we're working with an intert curve, okay, and you want to come around a corner, the problem is the curve's very bendy, right? But if you want to make a sharper corner, you can make another point after it. Then you can come around a corner, not so bendy. So exactly the same thing with a SubD surface. I want this sharp, but I don't want it that sharp. So I'm going to insert another edge really close to this edge. That's going to help the corner bend a little bit for me. Alright, so let's open that up. So I'm going to grab this edge, and this edge, and this edge. Excuse me. And we're going to insert edge. So I copied it in before. That will go over there. Insert an edge. And I want to insert it on this side. Alright, then I'm going to go over here and grab the same thing. You, and you, and you. And right click to run the last command and insert another edge there. Alright, so now I've got a few more edges that I can slide. So you, and you, and you. I want to move you there, sharpen up that edge. There we go. It's looking more like I want it to look. I think it could go probably even a little more. Alright, so at this point I'm going to grab the two outside edges, you and you and you, and you and you and you, and I'm going to scale them towards each other. Okay, so now I get kind of a sharp edge there, but not so sharp and looking unnatural like it did before. It looks more like you expect to see in a piece of jewelry, right? Soft, this over here, I think we need to insert another edge here, and one here, because the top of the prong I want to have it a little bit flattish, all right? So I'm going to insert edge again. That's not really going to work for me either, so I'm going to do that. And I subdivide that face. What I'm going to do over here is I'm going to grab all these vertices, so vertex mode. Grab all the vertices up the top there. And let me see if I can scale them towards each other. Is that going to help me? Not really. Alright, so we're going to do an extrusion of this face right on top of itself. So we're going to go to face mode. I'm going to grab that face and we're going to do a tiny extrusion. Just bit. Okay. Then you've got a nice flat over there. Alright, so we kind of got the collet looking the way we want it to over here. I feel like this outside could be a little bit rounder, because at the moment it's very square. Up at the top, I also feel like we should probably scale it. It's too straight. So I'm going to take that and scale it back towards itself. Up at the top there. And these outside edges here. So I'm just going to edge mode. So you and you. Not you. I'm going to take them and just move them out to get a bit more roundness. There we go. Alright, so now I'm happy with that. So I've got a nice round collet. I'm also able to change where my stone size is, because I can just grab all these edges at the top. I grab all those edges and I move them. How cool is that? Right, so it means you can make it any size you want. We can bring the inside face in a little bit to offset the. Take that. Where's your Z? Let's move it there. Okay. Alright. So you've got a collet from SubD. If you
Yes.
save this now, excuse me, if you save this now, you can bring it into any drawing you want. Oh, that looks terrible. Why don't you tell me it looks so terrible down there? That's better. Right, do you want to grab that and pull it down a little more? I think we do. So let's grab all those. Bottom. Alright, that's a bit better. And then these ones want to take back in a little bit. Alright, so you can tweak that until you're super duper happy that you've got the right shape collet you want. I think most people like a teardrop collet, so if you grab that face, I want to make it sharper, you just got to scale it in towards itself like that.
Yes.
Now how are you going to sweep that? This would have been nearly impossible to do a sweep of.
Yes.
You with me?
Yeah. Get it.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's a little bit because you missed on the SubD, so that you've got the ability to create a subdivision surface from nothing. So let's go back over the various methods that we've looked at today. So you can create a SubD from nothing, from literally nothing. You can say that I'm going to start from an append face. This will go over there. Press enter and start drawing a SubD out.
Yes.
All right. You do that in block mode if you are going to do, because then you can keep. And you can say that I want to draw out. So this was like the tree method that we used, right?
Yes.
You can also directly extrude solids. So you can produce a SubD solid. You can grab a face on it.
Yes.
Let's grab those two faces there, and you can extrude it.
Yes. So that.
And then you can grab those two and extrude it. You need to then also remember that where you're extruding solids, or any SubD, in fact, you can have mirror over two different directions, and you can have radial. So let's talk about mirror over two different directions for you, because I don't think we did that one. So I'm going to create a torus from a sphere from 0, bring it out.
Yes.
Let's go to soft mode for now. All right. I can grab the SubD. Oopsie. Turn my filter off. Grab the entire SubD, and I can say that I want to mirror. All right. So reflect. They don't say mirror for some reason, but you can reflect.
Yes.
What's the axis of my reflection plane? I'm going to go from 0 like that. Okay. So now it's saying that anything I do on the light side is going to happen on the dark side.
Got it.
All right, so if I grab that face and I extrude it.
Got it.
So this is how, if you were going to build a face, so there's some ears or horns.
Okay.
All right.
Get it.
So you can do the same thing. You can say that I want to work on a quadrant, so I can do another reflection. So on the same SubD, right, turn off the filters. On the same SubD, I'm going to add another reflection. All right.
Yes.
And this time I'm going to do it there. So now anything I do on just this quadrant will be across and down.
Got it.
All right. So if I grab the edges.
Got it.
Okay.
Yes.
That can get a little bit weird very quickly. All right, so be careful when you use it. But for making a collet, the way we did before, super duper easy.
Yeah.
You can just radiate and then join up. Anything else about SubD that was weird in the video? I don't think you've watched the video yet, but any other questions on it so far?
Yeah. Not really. I need to practice. Then I know the problem.
So then watch the other SubD video.
Yes.
There's 2 SubD videos.
Yes.
And this one. Watch those 3 together and try to make the tree of life.
Oh, yeah.
And then come back.
I'll try. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
I like the normal way to make